we now know a lot more about the would-be Trump assassin because now we have access to the manifesto that was left and a better picture of the gun that was used. And I think these two things combined actually tell us one very important thing about this latest Trump shooter. Now I'm going to explore the manifesto, how that came to be in the first place, which is really odd, and then we're going to look at the gun itself. Now when you look at this gun, just be prepared to chuckle out loud, maybe heavy laughter. So if that's going to bug anybody in your workspace or at home, there's your fair warning for that. Now I'm going to give you my strong opinion. One thing that I believe we can all take away from this, that I think is the most important thing, but I want to hear your opinion too. No matter if you agree or disagree, let me know what you think down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. Let's go and get into it. Now let's talk about the manifesto. How did this thing come to be? Well, there was a witness that came forward and said, hey, the would-be shooter contacted me. He gave me this box. Well, when I heard about all this stuff going on in the news, he or she opened it, and here's what was inside: ammunition and a letter. So is this person, we don't know if it's a friend, we don't know if it's an associate, we have no idea what the relationship is there, but did they expect this person to carry out the job? Is that why they left ammo with him or her? We don't know, but what the manifesto says is really interesting. First off, it says, this is an assassination attempt. Now, that's a really weird thing to say. You know, we know it's an assassination attempt. Even without the shot fired, we know what his intentions were, and we know why he did it. It's a political statement that he leaves in the manifesto. It's essentially like, hey, this is an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I have failed you. Now, a lot of people in the media hesitate to say assassination attempt. It's like, oh, this incident, this latest Trump incident, you know, it's like they don't want to admit that there is a serious problem that the media has helped create in these lunatics by calling Trump Hitler and the second coming of Hitler and this guy's a threat to democracy. We've talked about all of that in the past couple of videos as well. So maybe that's why they're so hesitant to do it in this case, because there wasn't a round that was fired, even though it was that's clearly what his intentions were. I think that's a really odd statement, but regardless, let's move on. He also says that, hey, since I failed, I'm going to pay somebody $150,000 to finish the job. Now, how this guy thinks he's going to do that from prison, I don't know. Did he have other things in place? Again, these are just details that we will eventually find out. We did see a search history, though, and in that search history, it shows President Trump's events well into October, and it also shows how to get from Palm Beach to Mexico, or the quickest way to actually get there. So on the surface, this guy planned to fail, and he actually planned to get away. Kind of interesting. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think all that means along with the gun, but let's look at the gun. So I brought out my SKS, so you kind of have an idea of what we're looking at here. This is a traditional SKS, right? It looks nothing like the photo that I'm showing you. It's got the wooden stock and all that. Well, what a lot of people will do, because the importation of these guns was just crazy in the 90s. I mean, you can get these things for $75 at one time. Now, this rifle was, I don't know, $600, $700. And most of these guns are, you know, $500, $600, $700, $800, $1,000 sometimes. They've really exploded, along with all the military surplus stuff. But anyways, you have this lower right here, and then this top hand grip right there. Well, a lot of people will take this lower and kind of change it out. So now what you'll see in the picture is a box magazine, and it has that extension on there. It's called a duckbill extension, is what a lot of companies will call that. And essentially, it's got to take up all of this space that you can see with this traditional floor plate. It's got to take up all of that. These things aren't known for being very reliable with some of those aftermarket mags. Whoever it is, don't know, don't care. I think these kits are personally, I think they're ugly because I like the way the gun looks as it sits, but that's just my opinion. These things are very popular to kind of sporterize, if you will. Now, another thing with the mag, there was 11 rounds of ammo. These are 7.62 by 39. Same round as an AK, but not the same gun as an AK. It just has an appearance of a modern rifle, okay? Also in the front, there's a bayonet lug. You can see that mine has that, but he removed the bayonet. Now, when we look at the top of the gun, that's where it becomes a lot more interesting. Let's just take this MCX right here. You have the ocular side of the scope. You have the objective side, okay? Now, what he's got on there is like a toilet paper roll on this side. I don't know what the hell he think he was doing there, if he was getting better eye relief or whatever. You know, somebody had said something about, you know, protection from the sun, you know, and there are shades that you can put on here. And that is a legitimate thing, but you would always put it on this side of the scope, not this side. This is where light actually enters. So there's that. This, yeah, it's wonky. It's goofy. Either that or he was expecting the recoil maybe to come back and, you know, come into his eye or something. 7.62 by 39, that's what this gun's chambered in. It is not. It is not that bad. Well, anyways, so you have the scope with this toilet paper roll thing on the back of it, which is totally ridiculous. But then you have the scope and the way it's mounted. Now, traditionally, SKSs are harder to mount a scope. You got the dust cover right here, and then you got the bolt right here. There are some companies that make some things that will replace certain parts so you can actually do that, whether it's a scout setup or replacing or using the existing dust cover. Well, this guy said, hey, screw it. I'm going to tape this frickin' thing on. And that's exactly what he did. I don't know if there's hose clamps, because you see a little bit of silver under the electrical tape. So I don't know if he put a hose clamp on there and then he just frickin' electrical taped around the lower receiver. I don't know if this guy ever shot this thing whatsoever. Maybe he bought it like that, or maybe he did sight it in. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if he could have even hit President Trump, even if President Trump was at the hole he was supposed to be at. Let's say this guy was never noticed by the counter sniper. I don't know if he would have hit him from 50 yards, much less 100 or 150 or 200 yards. This is like a crime gun, right? They look at the gun, they do their investigation, then they sell them back, you know, very cheaply to the public. Like, it looks like that type of gun. It was in an evidence locker, and, you know, they just sold it for cheap. So, this manifesto in this gun tells me one important thing. First of all, this guy's a clown. Let's just be honest. Second of all, I don't think he ever had any intentions of actually being able to pull this off. This gun is absolutely ridiculous. This is not, I mean, bottom of the barrel, under the barrel, right? This is a gun that should have been buried decades ago and just forgotten about. But unfortunately, it surfaced, and this guy was able to find somebody that sold it to him without the serial number. But reading the manifesto, knowing that there was a serious potential that he could fail, I almost think it's like one of those situations where he's like, hey, I didn't really think I could pull this off. I was going to try, but I didn't think I'd really pull it off. But I really want to get that $150,000 to somebody that could do the job. Now, I don't know. He had a couple license plates. He was trying to find a way from Palm Beach to Mexico. So maybe he did think he would be able to pull it off, but I almost think it's a cover for the manifesto. It's like, hey, I tried to do it. But just couldn't get away with it this time. But hey, I do have some cash saved up, so anybody want to carry this forward. This is a serious situation, though. Even though I believe this guy is an absolute clown, he's a menace to society. He probably should have been locked up years ago. He's had 100 run-ins with the law since, what, the frickin' 80s or early 90s? The serious part of it is the fact that people are willing, let's assume this letter is real and that he has $150,000 to pay. That is the length that people are willing to go to eliminate President Trump. And copycats are a real thing. And unfortunately, like I said in the video I did just a day or two ago, I don't think this is going to be the last one. And the next person might not be so disorganized, right? They may have a way better setup or a way better plan or whatever the idea is. But, you know, that's my biggest thing and what I worry about. And again, I'll reemphasize that I think President Trump needs to take it upon himself and hire his own security, because the Secret Service, even though they're asking for more money, asking for more resources, I just don't trust the planning at all, right? They let this guy with this rifle, sit in a bush for 12 hours and never scanned it and made sure that it was clear of threats before President Trump started golfing. Just really a shame, to be quite honest with you. So that's what I take away from this whole thing. I don't know that this guy was planning on pulling this off. I think he was kind of planning on failing, but he just wanted to say, hey, I got $150,000. Anybody interested? Here you go. How he would ever get that to somebody, I don't know. But we do need to find out more about this witness too. What was their involvement? What do they know, or who do they know? Do they have access to those accounts as well, or access to any other monies that we don't know about? These are some things that we need to find out, man, but I hope that this video kind of filled you in better on who this latest Trump assassin actually is. And of course, I want to hear your opinion, no matter if you agree or disagree. Let me know what you think down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.